Hey everybody, Jim from Jim's Coleus. Okay, as promised, here we go. We're going to be separating Coleus, potting them. As you can see here, got plenty of pots going, trays. I generally have about, it depends on each year. So anywhere from 15 to 20 trays. 1 to 2 Coleus. Because I only have so much room until I can get out into the greenhouse. I started a little later this year, which again, over the years, I've experimented with starting earlier and so forth. I primarily do the videos for you guys, here the YouTube channel, and the Bayhead Farmers Market, which is between June and September. So it's really experimentation. So again, I only have so much room inside. I have my racks and so forth, and a very understanding wife. Once the weather gets above 60 at night, I generally don't go into the greenhouse until late May. I learned from the past not to rush. Now, I do have a little heater. If you've been following along, I will use that on nights that maybe get, it might have a night here that might get 55 or so, but I've learned in the past not to rush to get out. So I'm getting ahead of myself. Anyway, I got 4 or 5 trays here. I have 2 inside, little at a time. I'll pot them. Now, I try to, I had mentioned that there are a certain size that you can that's safe to separate. Coleus are they're so easy to grow. They're so prolific. You can seed them on a wet paper towel. They are just so hardy. Once they're rooted into pots, they just take off. So it's really hard to kill them. I mean, the only way you're gonna kill them is to break the stem and from the root, and even then, you put it in more moist soil and it'll root. So which is why they root so well. So anyway, I try to pick out the healthiest, strongest, largest germinations in my trays, and if there are a few, and there are, that are smaller than what I consider ideal to transplant or separate, I'm going to put them in the pots and they will grow. So don't get upset if you separate smaller. You can just get them into pots. That's all all I can tell you is get your germinations, get your Coleus into pots. Make sure the pots are well drained, and at this point, again, fertilize. So, all right, so let's get going. I'll show you how to simply separate the Coleus. If this is the system, if you're following along, and this is the system that you want to use, this is the system I use with the Jiffy Pods. You can take this system and apply it to even pots. So just say instead of using Jiffy Pods, you seeded 20 Coleus in this pot here, and maybe you seeded 5 or 6 in this pot. You can eventually, the seeds will take over this pot, and then you can pop it out and separate the Coleus there, or you can just take this, pop it out, put it into a hanging basket or a larger pot. It's really the principle of what you started your Coleus in. But for purposes of what I do and how I use the Jiffy Pods, if you're using Jiffy Pods, this is your video. Otherwise, just apply the principles to it. So I hope I hope you understood that. Okay, so let's get going. So I hope we'll try to get this as close as possible. So you got your, just for purpose of the video, it doesn't matter how many you're doing. Again, your potting soil, make sure it's potting soil, make sure your pots are drained. Basically, this is a decent size. This is what I consider a decent size to separate. Again, if you're gonna just put these two right into a pot, you don't even have to take the netting off. You can just put put a hole in your pot and just drop that right in the center if it's a larger pot. These are a little close together. I definitely want to separate them. Here's 3 and here's 2. So I'm going to put these 2 in one pot and these 3 in separate pots, just to give you an idea. So if you're going to be separating them, just gently, again, don't worry about damaging the Coleus. They're just such tough little buggers. Again, it's like a cupcake basically. What I like to do first, all right, these I'm going to put 2 in one pot. So I kind of tap down the soil, make a little hole, not really deep because I'm going to be separating these, and you don't really know how much root and soil you're going to have, so I just make a little, little indentation. Again, this is my system. You can do what you want as long as you get them in the ground. See, I kind of fell apart at the bottom, so I put that to the side, put the netting to the side, and just gently separate them. You're going to see some, again, they're they're strong. They're very tough little guys. So here, and don't worry about it, if you drop a little here, you can take off, it really doesn't matter. Just get this into the soil. Drop it in. Again, don't worry about the little cotyledons, those first leaves. They've done their job. They're not necessary for the plant. Just make sure you get it in, gently go around. If you break a leaf off, even if you break a main leaf off, don't worry, it's gonna grow back. As long as you get it in the soil. Again, there's a lot of soil here. I don't necessarily need all this. You can, if you want it, you don't want to disturb it, that's fine. Just make a bigger hole. See if that even shows. Just make a bigger hole. I think this one has a little damaged leaf. It actually does. It has a damaged leaf. Perfect. No worries here. This is supposed to be enjoyable. And there you go. Actually, a leaf fell off. So, not going to do anything to the plant. You can actually see, let's get this brightened up a little bit. That's too bright. You can see 2 more leaves coming in. Remember, Coleus, they grow 2 by 2 by 2. So they'll keep growing 2 by 2 by 2. Trimming, we're not even going to get into that. We're not even thinking about trimming right now. Get your Coleus into the soil. Don't worry about the roots. When you're separating them, they're tough little guys. Get them in the soil. And then you can fertilize. Give them a little water. I have some fertilizer mixed in. Again, I have that other liquid or the shake and feed, Miracle-Gro shake and feed. I mixed a little in with the potting. If you have time release fertilizer pellets, that's probably the easiest to use. If you have your time release fertilizer, that's probably the easiest. If you're a busy person, time release fertilizer is really the best, because then you mix it in with the soil, or you can drop it on top and it'll feed as you water. It doesn't have to be Miracle-Gro. There's Osmocote. There's a lot of name brand. Just make sure it's general purpose plant food. You don't want to use a fertilizer for flowers, because that's an entirely different type of fertilizer. It promotes flowers. I'll use that later on in the season when I want to produce more seeds, stalks, and flowering. Really simple. Use your time released fertilizer pellets or the liquid Miracle-Gro liquid 111 at liquid indoor plant food. That's really good too, because it directly feeds as you water. So it's really up to you what you find is easier. If you're a really busy person, I would recommend the time released general purpose plant food. Okay, so we got those in. They're ready to go. Again, a little bit of time release fertilizer or the liquid feed. Water them. Make sure you keep up the water. Don't saturate them. They're young yet. Just make sure you water them every couple of days. Depends on where you keep them, how dry it is. If it's near heat register, they're going to dry out faster. Just scrape down, feel it. If it feels moist under there, then you're still good. Again, Coleus are really simple to grow. I'm trying not to make this look and sound complicated. It's not. Get them in the soil, feed them, water them, follow along, and you're going to do great. All right, so let's get these other ones separated. All right, these I'm gonna put in separate. So I'm gonna just make a little hole here, just to get ready to go in the center. I have a little leftover of the pod, so I'll mix that in a little bit, fill in. And this soil, the peat pods are really good. They really retain a lot of moisture. Again, here we go. Got the 3. Rip the netting. Look at that. Look at this. Look at the roots. Let's see if that's going to show up there. Look at the roots on there already. So they're pretty aggressive. They really start to take over. And look how young these are. Imagine what your pot's going to look like after 2 months. The roots will take over the soil. They just take off the soil. So, all right, now these are pretty close together in here. So am I worried? No, I'm not. I'm just gonna take it gently. The bottom's off. When it gets this, when you get into 2 or 3, I just crumble it gently. Some of them may be really stuck together. And again, I grow so many that, hey, if one of them breaks, then that's so be it. All right, these are really stuck together here. There we go. These are really stuck together. Put it right in here. Well, I got some roots here. You know, handling Coleus is sort of like watching a mother rabbit carry her young by the ears. You know what I mean? You think it's hurting them, but it's really not. Just be gentle. These still have their whole lives ahead of them, so don't worry about it. This is supposed to be fun. It's a beautiful day here. Windy, as you can hear, but not too cold. I didn't want to do this in my dining room. It's so dreary sometimes. Even though it's bright there, it's much better to be out here. It's not really a big root, so we'll just make a little hole. Make sure you get it down into the soil and just fill in. I mean, this is just a little tedious part, that's all. Gentle. It's like being a neurosurgeon, I guess, without the 10 years of school. Okay, and just sprinkle some fertilizer if you have it, you know, fertilizer, time-release fertilizer, and water, and repeat. So we got our Coleus in the pots, and the extra soil, the extra peat, Jiffy, you can mix that in with your potting soil. Don't throw it out, obviously. It's good stuff. It's you know, I'll have so much left over, as I do. If I do a whole tray, I have a whole bound, so I mix it in with the potting mixture, and it's really great because it's just it's a fabulous moisture retention soil. It's really, really good, so don't waste it. And let's go inside. I'll show you I'll show you the tray that I did yesterday. And I'll show you what I said in my opening about some of the smaller, you know, I try to really look at which germinations are large enough that I feel I can separate. And of course there may be a few, especially seeing a lot of them I overseeded. But if there are some smaller ones, again, get them into pots. Let them grow. They will take off. They'll be fine. So, but that's why I grow so many, So it's like seeding your lawn. You're seeding the lawn, and you're feeding the birds also. You're throwing down a little extra for the birds. So, all right. So let's go inside. I'll show you the ones that I potted yesterday. So just apply this to what you're doing. Keep following along. I have over 225 videos. So 99%, 95% of them are Coleus. You want to look, I welcome you to look through all of my Coleus, look ahead. A lot of them each year go by step, by time, like germination, seeding, germination, separating, potting, summer care, weed control, trimming, and so forth. So feel free to look through those and then follow along, because I'll repeat, because every year is a little different. Each year I get a new surprise. Each year I'll get different colors, different things. I learn different things. I learn from you, from a lot of people, followers that always check in all the time, good friends, Mystique Rose, Pat, Jessica, Jazik from Sweden. How you doing? Ray Marr. A lot of, I can go on and on and on. I have to really make another list, another thank you video. I did do a thank you video a year or two ago, thanking my regular followers, because, you know, that's the only way I know I can do this, because I know people are watching and learning. I hope you may enjoy yourselves doing this stuff. So, okay, so let's go inside. I'll show you the germinations that I separated already, and from there, it's magic from now. It's spring. The days are getting longer. The sun is getting warmer. These little guys are smart, and they know that. And things are going to really start to take off. And then once I get them in the greenhouse, they're really going to take off. And that's when I have my fun with my pots and creating pots, hanging baskets, and all that. I want to go and get ahead of myself, but that's when I have fun, because my end game is the farmers market that I do. And if you're not familiar with that, aside, Bayhead, New Jersey, Jersey Shore, about an hour south of New York City, an hour north of Atlantic City, Bayhead, right on the ocean. Farmers market, Bayhead Farmers Market. I do it every Thursday. It's myself and two other local farmers that sell vegetables and so forth. I have my Coleus, obviously. So we do that from June to September until I run out of Coleus. So that's each Thursday from June to September. That's Bridge Avenue in Bayhead, New Jersey. And okay, so let's get inside and I'll show you the Coleus that I potted already. Okay, so here you go. Just give you an idea. They're in pots. See, now there are a few that were, these were smaller. They just happen to be in the pods, and I potted them. So I try to ideally get the largest of the Coleus, but there were a few that I could easily separate and get them in the pots. Here's some of the larger ones. You can see they're already reaching for they're already looking towards the the sun. So, but you can see 2, 1. I try to get a piece. I really look at each one. I said, this is a really beautiful one, and this one actually you can see the netting. So I put this right in a single. There you go. You can see the netting. I put it right in the pot. You can argue I can sprinkle a little potting mixture on top of the netting, but I'm not really concerned. It's going to root fine. These will all be really healthy Coleus. Now, may get a few that die. That's a possibility. That's what happens when you grow a lot of Coleus. You may get 1 or 2 that just the shock or what have you. Again, go back to my grass seeding analogy. But you can see these are really fine. And that's, if you're following along, just look forward to more and more videos. And you can follow along and watch these beautiful Coleus develop and grow. I'm really excited at the color on that one. That's going to be a really beautiful, beautiful Coleus. Oh, I didn't tell you, the other day I've been moving these trays, the Jiffy trays, out onto the racks here to give them some natural light, get that sun going, and I dropped this tray all over the floor. And I was so upset because I figured that was it. They're all dead. Luckily, and this just goes to show you how resilient and strong these little guys are. I picked them up right away. A lot of them fell apart. You could see some of them really fell apart, but they were the netting, because of the roots in the netting, just kept them from crumbling and dying and falling apart. So they're okay. They're fine. Not one of them. I think I maybe threw one. You can see maybe one right there on the side. There's one that kind of fell over, but they're all in pretty good shape. So here are the Terranias, the blue Terranias, and I also have some mixed color Terranias. And I had some empty pods in the back that didn't seed, so I bell peppers. So I threw in about 5 or 6 bell peppers. And then of course this is my messy, well overseeded Coleus tray. And we'll get a lot of that planted. It'll, you know, by that time we'll be in the greenhouse, and it won't be a big deal. I'll set up my table in my yard. So we got lots of work ahead of us, and I'll do a little each day. And remember, when you water, don't just water, you know, there. Oops. When you water, don't just water right here. Try to, as they get older, water around the whole thing. You know, if it takes the Coleus over a little bit, don't worry about it. If you got a little soil on the leaf, don't worry, it'll dry and come off. You can brush it around a little bit, but you wanna water pretty much all the soil, because that will stimulate the roots to search for water, and it'll expand. And as I mentioned earlier, strong roots means a strong plant. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you give you some ideas, and maybe put your mind at rest a little bit, thinking that, you know, it's difficult. I'm gonna kill everything. I don't have a green thumb. You don't really need a green thumb. If you're a person who says that they don't have a green thumb, then I think Coleus may be your answer. So so give it a try. Pass my channel on to anybody you think might be interested in learning something different, growing some Coleus and so forth. And stay tuned. We've got lots of growing. Once I get out here in my yard, set up the table and the tent, that's when we're going to really start to let these breathe, get some oxygen going into them. The regular watering, the warm weather really makes a difference. And by summer, we're going to have such beautiful Coleus, and I hope yours will be as well. I know they will be. Just follow along and have some fun. So, okay, we'll check back in another maybe week or so, see how everything's going. Any questions, comments, leave me a message here on the bottom, or Instagram, Facebook. Instagram, again, is my best place. And before I close, of course, if you need seeds, Jim's Coleus on eBay. Get some seeds, and it's never too late to start your Coleus seeds. All right, take care, everybody. We'll see you in another week or so. Take care.